Coming up in today's video, we're going to be exploring the talks of WBD for sale. It sounds like maybe Netflix is in the hunt. Paramount is still rumored to be making the sale. What does this mean for AEW and their TV deal? Also, Tony Khan talking about a potential all-women's pay-per-view. Also talking about Britt Baker. And we do got to talk about a WWE return that's kind of been put on halt. And yes, we do have a huge update regarding a top TNA star potentially leaving the company. Guys, it's all coming up right here on The Angle Show. Let's jump right into it. And as a reminder, if you guys want more videos like this, don't forget to click that subscribe button and ring the bell. This one might be a little bit of a long one, but trust me, we got a ton of stuff to talk about. So let's jump into it. I want to kick things off with WWE news surrounding AJ Lee. She came back to the company. We've all kind of been wondering what the hell is going on with AJ Lee because we haven't seen her on TV. We didn't see her at Crown Jewel. WWE has not been putting her on TV. It's like a really weird thing. Like, did WWE just bring AJ Lee back simply for the fact that they were going head-to-head with AEW, with WrestlePalooza? Honestly, that sounds like a very valid explanation, right? However, AJ Lee has responded to this, and AJ Lee made it very clear that she is not injured. She's still with the WWE. In fact, she confirmed on social media that she's currently on a book tour, and she also thanks Becky Lynch for keeping her title safe. So it sounds like Becky Lynch and AJ Lee might be the feud that WWE continues with. And honestly, I wouldn't be mad about it. And I definitely would not be mad about the idea of AJ Lee potentially having the Intercontinental Championship. I'm just going to be honest with you. You want to stack up this mid-card division for the women? AJ Lee is the perfect person to continue this feud with Becky Lynch. Obviously, Seth Rollins is off of television, but I think there is still more story to explore with Seth and CM Punk and AJ and Becky. This, to me, is a no-brainer. This, to me, is a wonderful idea. This, to me, is going to be wonderful because if AJ Lee were to win the Intercontinental Championship and then you need to have her drop the belt to somebody, maybe Roxanne Perez would be a great option. And I think ultimately that's probably WWE's long-term plan. And listen, I'm not mad about the fact that AJ Lee has been off of television. I think we got to be very clear about that. Because AJ Lee being off of television means that she's not constantly being pushed down our throats. So it allows Becky to keep doing what she's doing with Maxine Dupree, who, by the way, is benefiting a lot from this. And then eventually AJ Lee could come back, set her target on Becky Lynch. To me, this is just a no-brainer. To me, this is one of those things that I genuinely think WWE should do. But I don't like the idea of somebody being taken off of television and then we don't know why. So shout out to AJ Lee for clarifying this and then putting it on social media, letting us know that she's not going away. Let's now switch gears into another topic that I find incredibly fascinating, and that is Britt Baker and her potential AEW return. There's been a lot of confusion surrounding Britt Baker. She's one of the OGs of AEW, and we have seen time and time again rumors pop up that perhaps maybe Britt Baker could be headed to WWE. Well, today, things are a little bit different because Tony Khan, he's actually being pretty blunt and pretty honest about it, saying that he's very happy with Britt Baker and he expects Britt Baker to be back on AEW television soon. So what is actually the situation here with Britt Baker? Why has she been kept off of AEW television? And is she really going to WWE? Well, I think, to be honest with you, Britt Baker is kind of in a tough spot because there's been so many new talent signed to the company. And Tony Khan has publicly said before, they do this thing where talent are being rotated. However, at the same time, too, it is very strange when you consider the whole situation with Britt Baker, where she returns, does something with Mercedes Moné, then you got something with Serena Deeb, and then you see the clip go viral of her basically saying nobody cares, and then she's off of television again. And a lot of people were confused about this, but I do think deep down inside, there is something valid about the fact that talent are being rotated off of television and then back onto television. But that's also problematic too, because you don't want to feed into the rumors that maybe Britt Baker is unhappy. And there's been reports about that. There's been rumors and speculation. The dirt sheets have been eating it up, essentially saying, hey, Britt Baker's not happy in AEW. And then there's some talk about her and Adam Cole, who were in a relationship, no longer being in a relationship, which, by the way, is not our business, but that is something that does get brought up because then people are like, okay, it makes sense. Maybe her and Adam Cole aren't cool anymore. They have issues. Okay, now she's out there saying nobody cares about her and Serena Deeb, basically burying a talent, right? Now there's this belief that comes out that, oh my God, Britt Baker is problematic. Britt Baker is an issue backstage. But nobody seems to confirm that. So we're literally in a situation where we are identifying realistically how messy the IWC and the dirt sheets could actually be, because it all feeds into a narrative that probably isn't true. Now, if Britt Baker were to go to WWE, I'm going to throw it out there. I would support the move 100%. I think WWE would do a great job with her. But at the same time, too, I cannot sit here and act genuinely like that's what I want to see. Because I do think Britt Baker has done so many cool things in AEW that I would like to see her stay put. But sometimes it does make sense for a talent to not stay. And that includes talent in WWE. I believe there are talent in WWE who would benefit greatly from leaving WWE and going to AEW. And for a long time, one of those names that I kept mentioning was Austin Theory, which sometimes isn't a popular opinion on social media, but deep down inside, I do think people could benefit. And I think companies can benefit from it too. So now that we're seeing what's happening with Britt Baker, I do believe she will return to AEW television at some point. But of course, that's really going to come down to Tony Khan and Britt Baker. So, I mean, Tony Khan says things are good. She'll be back. We're going to take him for his word. But if for some reason that doesn't appear to be the case, then obviously you can expect her to be gone from the company when her contract is expired. Now let's switch gears to TNA for a moment, because Fightful Select has dropped a very interesting report surrounding a TNA star who could potentially be leaving the company. And honestly, it wouldn't shock me if he did. We're talking about Mustafa Ali, whose contract is set to end at the end of 2025. Now, according to Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful Select, Ali's contract runs through the end of 2025. He is the leader of the Order 4 faction. He's been a very dependable star for TNA, including now more than ever with the NXT partnership. However, he did confirm his contract with Sports Illustrated earlier this year. Now, there has been rumors of Mustafa Ali potentially going back to WWE. It was said that he was welcomed back by Shawn Michaels and the team when he showed up for October 7th showdown against Ethan Page. But nobody really knows what his next move actually is. Now, Mustafa Ali has been in a very interesting situation, honestly. He got released in September of 2023. There was rumors of him going to AEW. He shocked the world. He went to TNA instead. And the stuff that he's been doing in TNA, quite frankly, to me, is some of the best stuff you could have ever expected, because this was some of the stuff that he kind of wanted to do in WWE. Then TV executives and people didn't want him doing it. Then WWE kind of stunned the entire world by releasing him, and that was a big ordeal. So when he went to TNA, this was like a very beautiful thing. He didn't do the typical, hey, I'm gone from WWE, I'm going straight to AEW. What we saw with Mustafa Ali was him taking a chance on him and his own creativity. And this is one of the guys, I have a lot of favorites in professional wrestling, but this is one of those guys that will hands down be top 5 for me personally. I think he's incredibly skilled in the ring. I think the character that he portrays on television, he does a very good job. But what is said about Mustafa Ali on a personal level and his behaviors and the way that he acts on social media and the way he conducts himself and the things that he does for humanity, I just have a lot of great respect for. And this is one of those guys, it doesn't matter where he goes. I fully support it 1,000,000%. I want to see him do big things. I want to see this guy win. I want to see him go out there and kill it. But this is where things get interesting, because TNA is in a situation where right now they're locking down that TV deal. And with them locking down that TV deal, that means they can afford more talent. So now the question is, will TNA continue to invest in Mustafa Ali? Or is this a situation where they will get outbid? Because if I'm Tony Khan and if I'm Triple H, I'm calling for Mustafa Ali to return back to the company. I'm making that call. If I'm Triple H, I want Mustafa Ali on Raw going after the Intercontinental Championship, or on SmackDown going after the United States Championship. If I'm Tony Khan, I'm making that call because I want him to go after the Unified Championship, the TNT Championship. So TNA is in a tricky spot now because you got to wonder, are they going to have the funds? Are they going to have the means and the resources to re-sign him? That's where things kind of become questionable. But if TNA is getting this new TV deal and they listen, if they get this new TV deal and they come back to Mustafa Ali and they're going live every week, Mustafa Ali is the perfect person for this role. He's a future world champion. He's a future world champion in any company. But in TNA, he should be that guy that's right there. Honestly, he's that guy that's right there that he should be treated like a big deal. And so therefore, I look at Mustafa Ali in a very tricky spot because things could get really intense with the bidding war. But I think Triple H and WWE, this is an inkling, this is a feeling, this is that little itch that I'm getting. I think WWE wants him back. Now, whether or not he wants to go back, that's up to him. But this is going to be something to very much pay attention to. That brings us to our next topic. Tony Khan talking about a potential all-women's AEW pay-per-view. We need to talk about it, ladies and gentlemen, but I think it kind of makes sense. Now, if there was ever a time for AEW to do this, it probably would be now, if we're being honest, right? I think we could all agree if you watch AEW, their women's division is definitely far more stacked than it's ever been. And Tony Khan has openly admitted that they have considered holding an all-women's pay-per-view. Now, during an interview with WFAA, there was a talk between Athena and the interview host. And basically, Athena had confirmed that Tony Khan has absolutely thought about the idea of doing an all-women's AEW pay-per-view. And she very specifically says, I just think it's about timing when it comes to those things. However, Tony has been very open about it. Now, Athena has been very vocal about the women's division in the locker rooms, which makes sense, right? Athena has been killing it in Ring of Honor. She should be killing it in AEW too, but she's been very vocal about it. She's very happy with her experiences there. Now, listen, WWE has done the all pay-per-view, all women's pay-per-view. TNA has done a all women's special live event in the past as well. I feel like it's inevitable at this point. Tony Khan probably should do an all women's pay-per-view. But this is where things get crazy. And that's because you got to look at ticket sales. Currently speaking, I know people don't want to admit this, but the reality is AEW has not been killing it with ticket sales. Wrestle Dream literally got outsold by TNA Bound for Glory. So that's where we are in today's day and age with AEW programming. So how would an AEW all-women's pay-per-view actually draw? How would the ticket sales actually be? I'm not the type of person that's going to sit here and say, no, don't do it. And I'm not going to be the type of person that sits out here and says they can't do it. I can't be that person. Because in all fairness, I think all these companies can achieve great things with the right marketing and the right business decisions. There was a lot of questions surrounding WWE Evolution too. And in that final week, they went from poor ticket sales to really, really, really good ticket sales. So I can't sit here and be that content creator that tells you AEW can't do it. I just can't be that guy. But what I could say is this. If AEW were to do it, you have to come in hot. This is not putting all-star tag matches together. You do an all-women's pay-per-view, get some of the top talent from AEW, Ring of Honor, bring in some of the big names from Stardom, bring in some of the big names from CMLL, and I think you could do some great stuff. A tournament, something. I think Tony Khan and AEW could do it. If they really want to do it, I believe Tony Khan and AEW could do it. Has he considered it? Yes. Is he willing to put the money into it? I think he would. Has it ever made sense? Honestly, no. Because they never really had that deep of a women's division. But as we were talking about earlier with Britt Baker potentially coming back, you have Thunder Rosa, you have Megan Bayne, you have Mercedes Moné, Toni Storm, Jamie Hayter. I think you could do it. I think you could do it. I think Tony Khan and AEW could do it. Don't be shocked if they do it. Now, it would be a wonderful time to remind you that you should check out nordvpn.com/Ango. Wrestling fans, you already know the real reason why you would use a VPN. I don't think I have to explain it much further, but check out the link below. There's a sweet deal for all Ango viewers, and trust me, you're going to want to take advantage of it. International viewers are able to watch all WWE programming on Netflix. If you know what a VPN is, then you know why this makes sense. All of these wonderful ideas about AEW potentially doing stuff could be up in the air because, well, Warner Bros. Discovery has officially listed themselves for sale. And this becomes a very, very serious conversation because we have talked about this before. And the nature of the beast is that wherever AEW's TV company, parent company lands, could potentially dictate where AEW goes as well. Now, with that being said, the two main suitors that have been very, very popular in aspect of buying WBD are Netflix and Paramount Skydance. And we just got to be realistic here because Netflix works with WWE and Paramount Skydance work with TKO. Obviously, they just did the UFC television rights deal and now Zuffa Boxing, which is owned by TKO as well. So this is very clearly a strange situation for AEW because technically speaking, whoever purchases Warner Bros. Discovery could ultimately make that choice of saying, listen, we already have WWE. We cannot keep AEW on our program. And there's been rumors and rumors and rumors about this for honestly like 2-3 years that Warner Bros. Discovery would be sold. But now they've officially listed themselves for sale. The rumor that's going on right now, the highest likely bidder is probably going to be Paramount. There has been a lot of talk online from plenty of reputable sources that Paramount is looking at securing the deal. And the thing is, they're willing to spend the money to do so. Now, there's been some stuff going out there that essentially Warner Bros. Discovery has turned it down. But the inkling, the belief that everybody seems to have is don't be shocked if Paramount secures the deal for $25 a share. This could be a very, very, very expensive acquisition. But there's a lot of intellectual property that Warner Bros. Discovery has that would ultimately be a game changer for any other suitor. And what that would mean is that if Paramount says, hey, we already have a deal with TKO, we can't have AEW, that could force AEW off the air. That could force AEW to seek a new television deal. But this is where things get trickier. Because now you have to realize, let's say AEW, let's say they want to go somewhere else. What exactly are their options? If Paramount does not buy Warner Bros. Discovery, and let's say Netflix does, Netflix has the deal with Raw. Okay, well, another name that's been very, very, very rumored to make a bid is Comcast. Comcast owns NBC Universal. NBC Universal has a deal with WWE for SmackDown on USA Network and NXT for Peacock. So now we're in a situation where the top 3 suitors are all linked to WWE. So essentially, AEW's only legitimate options would be Amazon Prime, which is very possible. And then you have Apple TV Plus. I think those are 2 of the most realistic. By the way, there is a rumor that Amazon may also make a bid for Warner Bros. Discovery, which if Prime Video were to own HBO, if they were to own all of Warner Bros. Discovery, that would be a very big deal. Throughout the years, I have talked about this plenty of times. Amazon wants in the wrestling business. So that would be AEW's best case scenario. But right now, it currently stands that Paramount is probably going to be the company that buys them. That's why this is such a big ordeal. I don't want AEW off the air. Let me be perfectly clear about that. But right now, for the last 5 years, they have been extremely lucky that they've had a television partner that like is actually interested in them. Some of these other companies will not genuinely be interested in AEW's product, especially if you're looking at the ratings. And with this new rating system, it's not looking good for AEW. So I do think the reality is AEW will lose their TV deal. This is my personal opinion. I think at some point they're going to lose their TV deal. But I also believe they're going to get a great TV deal with another partner. I do. Now the reality starts to come in and hit you a little bit in the head, and it makes you realize how beneficial is it for AEW. In a perfect world, you would hope that WBD wasn't in debt and everything just remained the same. But things could get ugly. That's the reality. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the Angle Show.